the preparation for the road that I met someone who is now a very good friend of mine. He was also rowing the Atlantic, but at a slightly different time and in a different boat. And we just became good friends. We started helping each other as we did. And he said to me, after the row, would you like to go out and climb Everest? And I said, well, look, I've climbed before, but I've never climbed to that extent. Now, he was a 5-time Everest summiter, so he was very experienced. And I said, well, let's do this. Let's take it one step at a time. Let's row the Atlantic and then see what happens. But yes, I'd love to. And if I'm honest, I kind of forgot about it for a little bit. And I remember I was home and the phone rang, and it was Rob. And he said, James, are you coming to Everest? And my natural reaction was to say, yeah, I'm in. So I said, yeah, I'm in. And he said, great, you've got 6 months to find £30,000. And I thought, I don't know how I'm going to do that, because I was broke. I'd put all my own money into the row, and I'd obtained sponsorship, and I had nothing left. But then I stopped and I thought, you know what? No one really helped me here. I got to the start line, and I did this on my own. And the thing that really got me across the Atlantic was that kind of mindset of just to keep going. No matter what happens, just keep going. And I managed to get to Antigua somehow. I was very lucky. And I thought, well, if I take that concept and I apply that to trying to raise sponsorship, if I keep picking up the telephone every single day and sending emails out every single day, no different to what any of you guys here do, raising money to go to a jamboree or whatever you want to do, someone at some point is going to get so fed up with me, they're going to say, yeah. So that's what happened. I became this sort of master salesman by default. And I made thousands of calls and sent emails. And one day I had a spot of luck. I spoke to a guy on the phone, and he worked for a company called Ben Sherman. They make quite nice shirts. And he said, listen, I can't help you, but what I can do for you is give you a database of all these different managing directors and CEOs. And what I suggest you do is you email all of them, don't tell them I gave it to you, and see what happens. So I said, okay. So I emailed all of them, and it got to the last one. And it was a guy called Andrew, and he worked at Nando's. You're all familiar with Nando's. They make amazing chicken burgers. And I thought, I just don't see the connection between a guy going out to try and climb Everest and Nando's chicken burger. And for some reason I thought, I'm not going to bother sending the email. This is a complete waste of time. But I thought, if I don't send it, I can be sure of one thing, nothing's going to happen. So I thought, well, I may as well just send it. And I sent the email. And then literally an hour later, the phone rang, and it was this guy, Andrew. He said, James, I've just got your email. And these were his exact words. He says, absolutely wicked, but tell me one thing. Do you actually eat Nando's? I said, yeah, I love them every day, but I can only eat lemon and herb chicken burger, which is true. I'm a big girl's blouse. I can't have anything hot. And he said, wait a minute. So you're telling me you've rowed the Atlantic and you're going out to Everest, and you can't eat our peri peri hot sauce? I said, yeah, that's true. And he said, I like the angle here. And so, amazingly, they became one of my title sponsors for Everest. And I had to become Barcy the chicken. And they tracked me up and down the mountain. Thankfully, I didn't have to dress up as Barcy the chicken. But looking back on that, I realised I wasn't going to send that email. And the time that you can't be bothered to do something, but you do it, will be the time that something comes off the back of that. And so in 2011, I raised the money to get out to the start line. And this is really where it all begins. This is a little place called Lukla, and it's built into the foothills of the Himalayas. And it's one of the world's most dangerous airports. Photo doesn't quite do it justice, but you can see the slope, the sort of angle that the runway's at. And you fly in on these really old, rickety planes. And I was quite nervous because one of these planes crashed a few weeks before I was due to fly in. And everyone was killed. And I thought, I really hope that doesn't happen to me. Luckily, it didn't. And this is the first glimpse that you get of Everest. It's still very green and lush at this point. You're looking at about a 10-day trek to get up to base camp. One of the things that I love about the Himalayas, there's no roads, there's no infrastructure. So everything is carriage. You can't get in the car and go to the shops. So this guy here has got 90 kilograms of Pepsi on his back. So that's probably that's like me picking up 2 or 3 of you guys from the front row and carrying you on my back all day long. And this guy will do that And he'll never complain, and he'll always have the biggest smile on his face. And there's something about that I just love. This guy here will only earn about $1,500 a year, and he's doing this day in, day out. And I always think back to that. Whenever you think you've had a really tough day, trust me, there's someone out there who's had and is having a much harder day. So I always think of these people when I'm feeling a bit fed up. But one of the things I love about going up through the trail up to Everest Base Camp is the people that you meet and the way you can integrate into the community. And I was going through a village and I saw this and I thought, that looks like a great photo opportunity. So I knelt down with the camera to take the photo, and literally half a second after I took the photo, the baby just went and actually fell off the stool. And I thought, oh no. And then the mum came running out and she said, what have you done to my baby? I said, no, not me, the wind blew the baby over. But it was fine, it was fine. So this is a bit of a breakdown as to how we go about climbing Everest. So there's two sides. We can climb from the south side, which is via Nepal, or the north side, which is actually via Tibet. Now I climb from the south side. And so you can see it's broken down into camps. We've got our base camp, camp 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the summit. But it's not as simple as just rocking up, making our way up through the camps, and then coming back down. We've got to go through a series of acclimatization climbs. So we arrive at base camp, and then we go up to camp 1, and we stay there for a night. Then we come back down to base camp, and take a bit more rest. Then we go back up again to camp 1, and then up to camp 2. We'll stay there for a night, and then we'll come all the way back down. Then we'll go back up to camp 2, up to camp 3, back down to camp 2, and back down to base camp. And you're probably thinking, why on earth are you doing that? And the reason we have to do that is we have to allow our bodies a chance to adjust for the lower levels of oxygen as we start going higher. So the trick is to go up and then come back down. But then when we go up again, we go just that little bit higher. And that allows our bodies to adjust, and we start to produce more red blood cells. The bottom line is, there's no shortcut to the summit of Everest, the top of the world. Even the Sherpas have to go through this process, and you will see why later on. But going through the Khumbu Icefall, the lower part of Everest is actually the most dangerous. And this is what you're going to see in a minute. So this is what Everest Base Camp looks like. It's a real hive of activity. But what you've got to remember is, for every one guy that's climbing, there's a support team. So we've got cooks, we've got Sherpas, we've got doctors, we've got guys that are just doing all the weather forecasting. So in order to put one person on top of the world, it takes a huge amount of logistics and support and effort, and effectively teamwork. So this was my tent here at base camp. The expedition will last about 6 weeks, and you can see looking up in the distance there is actually the Khumbu Icefall. This is a photo I took at night. So this is why it's so dangerous. You can see how small that person is in comparison to the ice that's around him. Now, the Khumbu Icefall is constantly moving, shifting and cracking and collapsing. And the problem that you have, some of these chunks of ice are the size of this entire theatre. And if that was to collapse on you, it's good night Vienna. So the idea is you've got to move quite quickly, but quite safely through the icefall. Now that can be quite difficult, because you've got to go across these ladders, and where the ice is moving and cracking, it opens up these huge crevasses in the ice. And some of it's quite simple. We put these ladders down here, and these are simple ladders that you could buy from B&Q, and they're lashed together, and the Sherpas will stake them in either side, and we'll go across them. But it is quite tricky to begin with, because you've got these huge boots and crampons on the bottom. So the crampons will work really well on the snow and the ice, but they don't work so well when you're going across a metal ladder. And this was probably about 4 ladders lashed together. So this was going up onto a crevasse there. So as you can see, it's a long way down. So if you fall off that, you've got a big problem. So the idea is you just take it nice and slowly, you look where you want to go, and you just pay attention to what you're doing. Now some of the ladders get quite long, like this one. So this ladder here is probably the length of this hallway. And also